What's going on, everyone? Welcome to T3G, and today we are doing a case review. Another extremely overdue review, but let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Today we're reviewing the Cooler Master HAF XB EVO Lan box mid-tower case. Man, that's a long title. Material used to make this case is steel, polymer, and mesh. And yes, the case is fully painted on the inside and out, and there is no reason why any case wouldn't be by now. Let's start with the outside of the case. First off, the dimensions of this case are as follows: 13 inch by 17.4 inch by 16.7 inch, and the weight is about 18 pounds. Now that we have that out of the way, looking at the front of the case, we have a big mesh grill that is covering up 220mm pre-installed fans that are running at 1200 RPMs and have a 17 decibel sound and are swappable for two 140mm fans if that is what you prefer. Below that, we have a power button, a reset button, a headphone and mic jack, and also two USB 3.0 ports. Finally, below that, we have two 5¼ inch bays, and next to that we have two hot swap bays for your hard drives that can hold both 3.5 and 2.5 inch drives. Going to the left side of the case, we have a plain side panel with a rigid carry handle for carrying the case and bigger style mesh holes for ventilation. Onto the back of the case, we have your what technically is considered in this case a bottom mounted power supply. To the right of that, we have two 80mm fan slots. Above the power supply, we have your I/O shield placement for your motherboard, and right above that, we have room for a 120mm fan. And to the right of the fan, we have 7 PCI slot bays and a ventilation mesh style opening. And speaking of the bottom mounted power supply, you are capable of removing the back to mount in the power supply easier. And finally, going to the other side, or the right side if we're considering my previous statement about the left side, we have an exactly same style panel as the left side. Top of the case, we have a mesh grill that can have a 200mm fan attached to it, and normally we forget about the bottom, but this has 4 good sized rubber feet and a fan filter for the power supply. With the rubber feet, it gives you plenty of space between the table and bottom of the case for the PSU fan to get enough air to cool the PSU. Okay, now that the outside of the case is covered, let's take a look at the inside of the case. Let's start with what size of motherboard you can fit. With this case, you are looking at fitting a micro ATX, an ATX, and a mini ITX board. And while we're on the topic of motherboard fitment, you can fit up to a 334mm card, which is amazing considering the form factor of this case. Also, you can have a CPU cooler with a max height of 180mm. While talking about fitment, for the PSU fitment, you can fit a maximum of 180mm in length. As you can see, we had no problem of fitting a standard size PSU. But to make your life a bit more easier than what this case already offers, I would definitely recommend a modular power supply, so that way you only have the cables in there that you need. For hard drives, you can fit two 3.5 or 2.5 inch hard drives, making that a total of 4 drives you can fit into this case, counting the hot swap in the front. Now, if you're wondering if you can run liquid cooling in this case, well, the answer is simply yes. You can definitely fit a H100 or a H80 in the front of this case, where the front 220mm fans sit. You can try and have the H80 on the rear 120mm spot, but I'm not 100% certain if the proper fitment will work, since I did not have a H80 to test this theory with. Overall, this case, simply put, is amazing for the size. We had no issues putting the build together at all, and still gives us plenty of room to add other things to the build if we needed to or wanted to. Does this case get my recommendation even at the normal price of the case, which at the current moment is at about $100? You bet. This is the first case that I can say is properly priced for what you get. If you have been eyeing it for yourself, then you will not regret it when you finally get it. And for the first time, I truly do not have any complaints or additional wants for a case. I applaud you, Cooler Master. And that's it, guys. Those are my final thoughts. That is my review of the Cooler Master HAF XB EVO Lan box mid-tower case. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for future videos like this one and even different ones. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.